disallowed or illegitimate entry of vehicles. We're saying disallowed because in academia we feel that government, with the present leadership, the present, there's an opportunity na tuwidin ang daan na ito to straighten the path of development for this sector. And it is not just a sector that will benefit from this. Many other industries that suffer from this inadequate enforcement. And the issue of parts and components issues. We have a lot to learn as far as making sure quality. In fact, parts and components can come in various forms of genuineness, so to speak. So these are the issues that have to be addressed. And then there are overlapping functions among government authorities granting fiscal incentives. The question is, and I think the present government has started that, to focus the manner by which new investments are being met or being received for registration. So hopefully it will reach all the way those agencies that affect this particular sector. Lastly, we call this the blueprint for manufacturing. In a roadmap, it depends on the enablers, that is government, that define where roads should be, and the users of the road, or not just the users, but the builders of the vehicles that will take that road, would be the manufacturers. First would be accessing foreign markets. As you know, the Philippine market is no longer the Philippine market. It is part and parcel of the ASEAN market. I've been saying this for decades and decades. So finally it has dawned on us, and hopefully the government gets it clear that ASEAN is the market to go. So we have to adopt a regional position, not just in ASEAN, but in other FTAs where there is zero tariff for auto parts, to include Australia, New Zealand, to attain the needed economies of scale which the industry lacks. Second, we have to empower parts and components manufacturing. Sustain and focus assistance to SMEs. Any government that is worth its salt commits to assist small and medium. Some of those small and medium that are in auto parts and components are equally deserving of any assistance that the government can provide. And together with the private sector, together with the private industry, together with manufacturers, determine other parts not produced locally and identifying firms that will make them. As I said, the future doesn't come naturally. The future doesn't come from anywhere else. We, as a people, have to make it happen. The government and the industry have to sit down to make it happen. And that is this, and there's a need as well for a serious partnership with the large firms and SMEs. Which means, in this particular sector, there are the big players, the multinationals, that government has to sit and work with to what extent or how much of the global operations can be done in the Philippines. It doesn't call for shyness, it calls for boldness in sitting down with them. That the export and investment promoters must sell the country policy direction to low-income decision makers. Not here, where all of us are practically agreed about how important and how great this country can be, but in the headquarters of where, perhaps starting with the gentleman on the table, our government policymakers have explained as part of the investment promotion activity. And establish a program of collaboration between government and automotive manufacturers. My message is, if other ASEAN countries do it, why can't we, Philippines, the Filipinos, do it? Attaining manufacturing competitiveness with incentives. From an academic standpoint, having done my bit of research on acceptability of fiscal incentives, we argue that there's a case for generous use of fiscal and non-fiscal incentives for manufacturing activities involving appropriately new models for regional markets, or new manufacturing areas, new manufacturing activities, basta bago, because eventually it has a multiplier effect on the economy. Because the taxpayer will mind it kung saan ginagamit yung incentives. And I'm referring to the fiscal incentives that exist in the government today. Nandiyan yan. So anybody can come to court and oblige the government to use it. At worst, the government can say they will use it sparingly, but they cannot but use it. And similar incentives for supporting parts and components manufacturing ought to be made available. Lastly, I'm not making an advertisement for Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, but I guess better you hear it from a third party than me. In this line of business, the second paragraph is the most important if you can read it. It says that a bank like that services the global chain of manufacturing, of trade. And if that is the reality of today, we must form part also of that increased growth in global trade. So which means if private companies, e.g., example, Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank, can understand and anticipate needs of global trade, it is also incumbent on government, together with industry, to realize that that is the future. And the future is here and now. And we plan for the future, not for the past. So with that, our message from academia and those who analyze is that we're always on the lookout for opportunities to be able to get government and manufacturers to work together. Because that way, that's the only way in which we could attain the opportunities, not just of manufacturing vehicles, but the manufacturing of parts and components that our growing population can have access to, our workers can find employment in, and for the technology that we too can understand as Filipinos. Thank you.